Right, cool. What's going on, guys? My name is Zaffarino. I'm 27 years old. I've been playing Street Fighter for approximately 10 years as of August 2020. I've started off with Street Fighter 4. I play Sagat because I never played a zoning character. This is my first Fireball character, and it was just another dimension of Street Fighter I was very excited to learn about and master because I know people say it's difficult, and I always kind of run towards a challenge, so that's why I play Sagat.
You can grow as a player. Listen, how about yourself, sir?
Alright, so I've been playing for numerous years. I started off in Marvel 1, my tournament career, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing Sagat in Street Fighter 4, as you all know.
Yes, sir.
Whatnot. He was pretty good in that game. Not that good in this game. Right? So, I played Sagat in this game because I felt like there was aspects to my game that needed improving, and I didn't finish learning what I needed to learn from Sagat in 4. So it was kind of like, I just wasn't done yet. My zoning game wasn't right. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sagat was kind of balanced as a character in 4. He had decent offense, he had good defense, you know, high damage anti-airs, all that stuff, right? And his zoning was pretty good, right? But you didn't have to only zone with him, right? He had a much more complete game. In this game, you have to zone, and you have to make right decisions on everything. Risk versus reward isn't necessarily in your favor, so you have to be right for your entire game.
You have to be more right the more you start winning too, which is
exactly. So I felt that this would get all my bad habits out, and I'd continue to grow as a player.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I would like to know your thoughts maybe later about comparing further Street Fighter 4 Sagat to Street Fighter 5 Sagat, because I remember going to final round and it was you and L.I. Joe repping Sagat, and we were just in a room and I saw y'all cooking everybody. I'm like, what's going on here? But that's a big contrast from how powerful he was in vanilla Street Fighter 4 to where he's at now in Street Fighter 5. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that maybe.
Okay.
Piano Densetsu.
Yeah.
Piano Densetsu.
Thank you. Absolutely. Why do I play Sagat? Honestly, I played Urian, so I don't know how this ever happened.
Because you're stupid. You're fucking dumb. Go back.
I'm not sure. I really should not be in this group with y'all. I was living nice. I was living pretty nice, but
you know what's funny about that? I started off as an Akuma player in 5.
Dude.
Wow.
So Javis knows I was living good.
Yeah,
we used to play each other every day.
The worst part about this character is that he just hits your heart, like in the best way, just so he can hit it in the worst way later on, But for me, honestly, it's just nostalgia. Look, like when I grew up in Street Fighter 2, to me, the two black characters were Balrog and Sagat, and I fucked with Sagat a whole lot. So I was like, yo, I love this character. Grew up, start playing Street Fighter 4. Everyone called him cheap, and I had a little honor back then when I was like 15. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play Sagat. I'm going to play Vega. But Sagat was just always the competitive character to me that was just the funnest to watch. I don't know why, but growing up, whether it was like Sanford, Bonchan, Ryan Hart, anytime I watched Sagat in a top 8, that's the point I would have like the most fun. So when 5 was coming out, I was like, you know what? When Sagat comes out, I'm going to be one of those guys. I'm going to be that guy. 3 years later, he never comes out. And I pick him up and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to just go on this journey. I love the character. I love what he represents. If you beat someone with Sagat, you beat them. They can't say anything to you. I am the best. And I honestly just played him for like maybe a year and a half straight. Just Sagat, including all majors. And truly, as much as I hate him, he is my favorite character in the game. And honestly, I fell in love with the journey, and having that childhood connection to him, it's just really hard to stop playing him. So,
that sounds like a deep history.
Yeah.
I do. To your point, I agree. Like this character, he may not be very strong, but he looks pretty good. I think there's a lot of cool characters in this game as far as aesthetics, design. Some of the new characters, Zeku G. I think they did a great job with the presentation of Sagat. The way he moves, his move list, the way they kind of interact with each other, and maybe the strategic ideas that they got going for him. They're outside of a lot of characters.
Right.
He doesn't really thrive on the comeback mechanics. Tries to do a little bit of neutral. you don't win the same way with other characters that you do Sagat. So I totally agree that there is something compelling about winning in a different way and having a cool character while you do it. So, Sagat's for content creators. That's what I like.
Yeah.
That all sounds nice until you go against like a I don't know, an Akuma in grand finals, and you're like, yeah, I can play this matchup, but damn, Akuma's cheap.
Yeah, nigga, and the cool players gonna be like, yeah, Sagat can fight. Yeah, Sagat can totally fight. It's a hard matchup. I have to like think for 70% of the.
I mean, they gotta think until they do jump EX Fireball.
Right.
And then you try to DP it and you fail? Oh, okay.
And you counter hit
I
damage.
want to talk about it. So, last but certainly not least, we got Javits, the laboratory connoisseur himself. I heard you've been playing some Sagat. I get the DMs every now and then about some tech. How you feeling? How you feeling about that character? And how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Just to give let people know about myself, as he mentioned, my name is Javits. I've been playing Street Fighter since '92 was my first Street Fighter. I would say I started competing in Street Fighter in about 2006 is when I started really competing. I came from the school of Chinatown, transitioned to the school of NLBC, and when I started in Street Fighter 5, I played a couple of characters. I started the game with Nikali. Then I switched to Alex, then I switched to Laura, and most recently Sagat. And similarly to Zaf, the reason why I started playing Sagat is because I had never really mained a zoner before, and I just thought Sagat. I saw what you guys were doing with him, especially Jibbo in the earlier days of when Sagat first came out. He was doing a lot of cool things with him, and I was like, man, this shit looks really cool. Like, I want to do that shit. And I think the irony in it, in me settling on Sagat, it's really just because I think it looks cool. Like when you hit that Angry Scar DP and the screen shakes, like that shit just rocks your soul a little bit. Even though I want to say it
too. Oh man,
and it's like,
yeah, like something about that hitting that move is just so satisfying. But it's kind of false advertising because all the screen shaking and all the mumbo jumbo, and then you get jumped in on that fifth time, and then you lose it all. You're like, ah.
Yeah, you really got hit by a pillow.
but yeah, he's cool, man, and I'm happy to be amongst you guys who have obviously been playing the character a lot longer than I have. But as you guys know, I'm a student of the game. I know a lot about this game's engine, and having played the Sagat only the past few months has opened my eyes to a different way to play this game. Which is when everything goes right, it's actually extremely satisfying. But those moments are kind of few and far between in certain matchups. But yeah, that's what we're here to discuss. So I'll put the ball back in your court.
Right. Well, where do we begin? How about this wonderful clip posted by Javits on his Twitter? I think y'all can see this. All right, what do we got here? Okay, let's see what we got. It's Bonchan Sagat versus Higuchi's Guile.
All that.
Is this an infinite?
Oh man.
All
right, so look.
Come on, Sagat.
So let me chime in since I uploaded this clip earlier, and I was watching this match earlier this morning, and I'm like, I'm always interested to see how some of the stronger Sagats fight their bad matchups and all that. So I was like, hey, I know these are two of the strongest players with their characters. Higuchi is probably the strongest Guile outside of Daigo in Japan. And then Bonchan obviously is known for his Sagat, and then I saw this particular round, and I'm like, wow, man, Bonchan is chunking some plasma, and he's like not getting anywhere. Like he's just like, look at this, like he's really like struggling to keep up with, and throwing fireballs is supposed to be the Sagat's main strength. If there's anything this character is supposed to be good at, it's supposed to be fireball and DP, and he's literally like unable to keep up with Guile V skill 1. So I know the reason for that. It's partially because and I made a previous post about this, is that in this game, while Sagat's recovery on his fireballs improved compared to Street Fighter 4, the travel speed was also reduced pretty significantly. And when you look at Fireball Wars, and the slower that your fireballs are, they basically can't. They'll clash like closer to the middle of the screen. Whereas if they're faster, they'll start to push the opponent back little by little, and that reduced speed really hurts Sagat because a lot of characters that traditionally would not be able to keep up with him in Fireball Wars are now able to match his fireballs consistently. So it kind of like forces Sagat to like jump and do other things to try to get damage. And obviously those are not his strengths. So like it kind of puts him at a disadvantage when a character can consistently match his fireballs. That's kind of what that post was about.
You smart.
Do you feel like that's because of the speed of the fireball, or because of the total animation of the fireball, the startup and the active and the recovery? Because oftentimes that's what I think is the case. Not so much the travel speed of the fireball, but the rate at which you can throw them. That's why I think Guile has the advantage in that fireball war, because he has the recovery, he has the walk speed, he's got the V skill for the increased durability, and it's just. The life lead is so important in that matchup, and it's hard for Sagat to even get to that.
Can I chime in for
Yeah.
So what I think is, all right, so going back to Street Fighter 4 real quick, right? Now, if you look at the low Tiger shots, well, first of all, Tiger shots in 5 are slower than 4 in general, whether it's high or low Tiger shots. Low Tiger shots in 4 were 12, high Tiger shots were 11. Now, high and low Tiger shots in 5 are both 13. So what I don't like about 5 is there's no differentiation between the speeds of high and low Tiger shot.
Yeah, like, the recovery is better for the high, but that's
the recovery is better. But I feel like because you can duck high Tiger shots, they should be inherently faster by a frame. So they should be a difference. Now, if you think about, I think the recovery between high Tiger shot and Sonic Booms aren't that different. I think it's off by maybe 2 frames. Now, if high Tiger shot got 1 frame faster, you wouldn't have to change the speed, you wouldn't have to change the recovery, but it would be 1 frame faster. And Sagat obviously is not a Sonic Boom, right? So I'd be able to start chucking fireballs out because of that. And then because I'm recovering 1 frame faster, because I'm starting 1 frame faster, that would change the matchup up drastically.
It would have to be both, because then it would be equal. If there's the same, if both of them have the same total animation frames, the low and the high, then it wouldn't make a difference in terms of the fireball war.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a difference.
So it would have to be faster. I don't know. I agree. I think that'd be a good idea to make the low shot, at least heavy kick, travel quicker, maybe. But it wouldn't. Unless you reduce the total animation frames, it wouldn't assist in the Guile matchup that much.
You know what I was thinking? They could make it so like the cancelable window on impact is like sooner.
Oh, do you mean like how when Sagat throws a Tiger shot, his arms extend, but it's invincible to projectiles? That part?
No, I mean like, you know how when the fireball, like if it clashes with a fireball or if it makes
bigger
contact,
clash box.
It's just, I'm saying like what they could do is because you know when the fireball hits immediately, you still can't throw a fireball right away, and that's something that's been like bothering. Yeah, you have to wait, which is kind of weird. But if they reduce that, then you'd still have the same risk in neutral of whiffing a Tiger shot. But if it makes contact, i.e., you know, like in a fireball war or for pressure purposes, then you'd be able to just launch them back and forth. You know, I think that would be a pretty good change.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's just one of probably many things. I wouldn't want to, like, it's so hard to approach changes for this character because you want to like deal with it in terms of a matchup, but it's not necessarily thinking about every other matchup and how it might affect it. So,
I got so weird to touch as a character,
right?
Because like it doesn't look like it, right? But like he's teetering on becoming broken, depending on what you change.
Yeah, I can see that.
A lot of characters are like that, but I mean, I would almost rather them do too much than too little.
No, I agree.
For sure.
But I want them to do too little, and then tone down the top. Because I don't want the game experience to be probably what it's always going to be. And this comeback factor, Oki, skip neutral. Those are what the most important things are in Street Fighter V. That's not to say that there is no fun. I'm not saying there's no fundamentals, but they only count for that. Fundamentals give you an edge, and that edge is what helps good players be consistent. Right. But the 80% of this game is V-trigger activation, do something anyways, and it's starting to wear a little bit thin on me, honestly.
I agree, because like I feel like your game doesn't really begin until you're losing. Like in a lot of cases.
And it takes a long, like when you're winning with Sagat, it oftentimes isn't a burst of like 70% of their health. You gotta work just to get them down there, and then you gotta work harder to not die to their activation.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes is enjoyable to do, but sometimes it gets a little bit old.
I would like Capcom to just pick a direction, like either make him a zoner, make him a, you know, like a mobile, you know, Tiger Knee focused character, or, you know, like make him like a footsie's powerhouse. Like give him some sort of direction, because right now he's pedestrian at everything he does.
Yeah, you know what? I agree about that, because like one of my major complaints about it, and I spoke to Javis about this, is that he doesn't do anything really well.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for instance, like, all right, so now I'm zoning, right? But my tiger shots are slower than they should be, so I can't zone effectively. And then my recovery is kind of bad. If I do a tiger shot and someone can reactively jump after I throw it, like I've seen people guess jump. That's fine. You guessed, right? You got rewarded. But if I'm throwing a tiger shot and then you're like, oh, I saw it come out. Now I'm jumping, and now he's getting up, he's recovering, he's getting hit with a full combo. I'm like, there's something wrong with that. You shouldn't be able to reactively jump over a fireball and punish it. And then, let me just finish this before. So going back to like, he's not really that good at actually zoning, and then you can't die from chip damage anyways. Now his jump is terrible. So like, how do you travel forward jumping? How do you guess on jumping over? His dash forward is terrible. His walk is terrible. What is he good at doing? Like,
and with that, I can segue to Piano Densetsu, because I remember you switching to Urian during your stream, playing against a Balrog. Balrog had the life lead, and he went like this. And you were like, what does Sagat do? What is this? This is stupid. He knows the matchup. He can't even win at this point. How am I supposed to get over there and not get punched in the face? He's going to...
Every time. And I think that's what, when I think about Sagat in this game, it's interesting because you know how like Ryu's supposed to be that like middle in the road, kind of does everything, but you know, has a fireball cool. I feel like Sagat's tall Ryu in a sense, where it's like, instead of being the character whose identity is, yo, you can't touch me, you can't get in, blah, blah, blah. It just feels like he's a kind of solid character with a pretty good fireball, and you just figure everything out along the way, you know? And I think when you're balancing him, you know, and this probably is jumping the gun a little bit, but it's like when you put this character in the game, I fully believe he doesn't have to be the traditional Street Fighter V in your face, beat trigger activation, guess for game character. I feel like his fundamental identity of just keeping you out, having a good enough fireball, DPing you when you try to jump in, all that's fine. It just feels like they did not give him enough to perform that way consistently. Like when I DP you, I should be doing way more than, what is his app? Like 120, 130?
It's 130.
130. What the hell?
I think it's 110 if you don't hit it deep.
Yeah,
if it's deep, it's 130.
I 100%. I don't think it's outlandish to say, yo, you know what? I should probably be doing 160, 170 at least.
200. Give about 200.
Hey.
I was fine with 160, but hey, if motherfuckers is saying it's Christmas early, I mean, hey.
I could take 160. I'll take 160.
Nah,
if it's 200,
I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Buki, jump at you.
It should.
I'm tired of people jumping at me, man. When I first played Sagat, I was going through rank. It was a Ultimate Grandmaster Ryu. I won't say any names. Ultimate Grandmaster back then wasn't that common. I remember I clipped it. I counted 7. I counted how many times he jumped at me in a row. I got to 7. He didn't stop, man. He ride fence.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so to go back on what Piano was saying, right? Like, if you run into a matchup where they completely eradicate one of your subpar categories of playing Sagat, so like let's say Dalsum completely gets rid of your fireball game, right? You don't have anything else to fall back on. It's like, what do you do? Tiger Knee? He literally will accidentally punish Tiger Knee. That makes absolutely no sense. He's looking for fireball, and then he slips and slides underneath you, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna punish you.